Whether defined as joy or contentment, most of us seek happiness. Countless eminent people have offered their counsel on how to achieve happiness, and here are 19, and for each a yes and or a yes but. Let's start with two quotations from psychologists. Sigmund Freud, as paraphrased by Tom Bodett of the Motel 6 commercials, said, "They say a person needs just three things to be happy: someone to love, something to do, and something to hope for." I would add that the something to do most likely yields happiness if it's creative, self-expressive. William James wrote, "Action may not always bring happiness, but there is no happiness without action." Dalai Lama XIV echoed that. Happiness is not something ready-made, it comes from your own actions. Also echoing it was Ralph Waldo Emerson, who wrote, "To fill the hour, this is happiness." I would word those less extremely. You'll likely find happiness with low-risk actions. You'll more likely find happiness with low-risk actions than with yet more rumination. Cesare Pavese, a poet, famous Italian poet, at least famous to anybody who's from Italy, wrote, "We do not remember days, we remember moments." That's a Western variation on the Buddhist invocation or invection, I don't remember which the right word is. Live in the moment. It's not an invective, no, that's criticism. An invocation to live in the moment. Eleanor Roosevelt wrote, "Happiness is not a goal, it's a byproduct of a life well led." Well, that is easier said than done. Joseph Addison, an essayist, wrote, "True happiness is of a retired nature, and an enemy to pomp and noise. It arises from the enjoyment of oneself, and next, from the friendship and conversation with a few select friends." For my taste, that's too broad. Some people are happiest in near solitude, others mainly with people. In other words, we range on a continuum from extreme introvert to extreme extrovert. Aristotle wrote, "Happiness depends on ourselves." That too I find too extreme. I would say that happiness depends mainly on ourselves, but also from doing worthwhile work that capitalizes on our strengths, plus maximizing time alone and around people who bring out the best in us. Shakespeare wrote, "Oh, how bitter a thing to look into happiness through another's eyes." Philosopher Montesquieu expanded on that. He said, "If we wished only to be happy, that could be easily accomplished. But if we wish to be happier than others, it's difficult because we believe others to be happier than they actually are." Some people, in my experience, these are quite happy, even deep down. Although rather than, to use Montesquieu's word, accomplished, that kind of seems hardwired. Chuck Palahniuk, who's the author of Fight Club, wrote, "It's so hard to forget pain, but even harder to remember sweetness, because we have no scar to show for happiness." It's worthy advice. Might it be helpful for you to list things that you should be happy for, present, past, and future? Friedrich Nietzsche wrote, "The advantage of a bad memory is that one enjoys several times the same good things for the first time." One of old age's new pluses. I consider that to be one of old age's few pluses. Mark Twain wrote, "The best way to cheer yourself is to try to cheer up someone else." That more concisely says what others have said. For example, from opposite sides of the political spectrum, Martin Luther King Jr. said, "The most miserable people I know are those who are obsessed with themselves. The happiest people I know are those who lose themselves in the service of others." On the other end of the political continuum, Gordon Hinckley, who was the president of the Church of Latter-day Saints from 1995 to 2008, agreed. He said, "Those who are seeking happiness forget that the surest way to be happy is to seek happiness for others." Leo Tolstoy wrote, "A quiet, secluded life in the country, with the possibility of being useful to people to whom it is easy to do good, and who are not accustomed to having good done to them. Then work which one hopes may be of some use. Then rest, nature, books, music, love for one's neighbor. Such is my idea of happiness, end quote. Well, at least from where I sit, being in the country rarely is central to happiness. The other stuff makes a lot of sense to me. G.K. Chesterton, a writer, he wrote, "There are two ways to get enough. One is to continue to accumulate more and more. The other is to desire less." I find that usually to be true only when a person has at least moderate income. Wilfred Peterson, who was a columnist in This Week for a long time, wrote, "Happiness doesn't come from doing what we like, but from liking what we do." Yeah, but beware that acceptance of that doesn't descend into unnecessary stasis, because the alternative to growth is decline. Charles Schulz, creator of Peanuts, wrote, "Happiness is a warm puppy." Yup, I do love my doggie. Hachi, my previous doggie too, Einstein, who died after 13 and a half years. It was a wonderful time we spent together. Jonathan Safran Foer, a novelist, current novelist, wrote, "I've thought myself out of happiness 1,000,000 times, but never once into it." Yeah, happiness does more likely derive from the previous quotations counsel. Well, whether or not you're a stick in the mud like me, ask yourself whether any of the above, either the quotations or my commentary, might move you above your baseline. In any event, I do thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko. I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. Feel free to comment. I look forward to seeing those. I love it when you hit the share button below and share with your social media so that my efforts have bigger impact. And I'm flattered if you subscribe to my channel. And in any event, I do thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko.